Welcome to Draves Archery, dravesarchery.com. Guys, I'm going to do a couple quick things here, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit on how to shoot a bow, how to sight in a bow, how to mount a sight on a bow. This won't take us very long, just a few short minutes, and we'll have this bow sighted in about 5 or 10 shots. I just grabbed a chill off the rack. This is just a bow hanging up there, brand new bow. You can still see it's got the string separator in it. We have put a kiss button and a D-loop on here, and I just screwed on a whisker biscuit. So how tuned is it? I'm not totally sure, but it should be pretty tuned. It's just kind of generically thrown together. But what I'm going to do today, and this is what I always shoot personally, is I shoot a Scott Archer release. I actually shoot the Saber-Tooth release. This is a brand new release in a package. I'm going to open up this release, and this is going to be my release I'm going to use today. I can find my release. This right here is the new React sight from Trophy Ridge. This is a heck of a cool sight, and you'll sight it in at 20, you'll sight it in at 30, and the rest of your pins are set, so you're 0 to 60 yards off of one sight, guys. There's a lot of research and development in this sight. I've sold a ton of these. Everybody just seems to be extremely happy. $159, buy one of these in black. But I do have one. I was going to pull this in here straight out of the box as well, but I looked underneath my counter and I got a brand new one sitting here that is sitting. So I'm just going to install it. I'm going to show you guys how this works. With this Trophy Ridge, it does a lot of things, guys, on the Trophy Ridge. It's got several different holes, the very back bracket to mount a quiver on. One beauty to the Trophy Ridge sight is if you put it in the front bracket, that will put your screw brackets, or what you call your quiver mount brackets, back further, which will actually allow your quiver to come back a little further, a little nicer on the bow. I'm actually just going to run this guy in about the middle hole. It's not a big deal. I'm going to screw on this sight. They come with the screws. The sight comes with the light. It's got this nice soft rubber touch feel coated to it. This is a really, really cool sight, guys. Lots of wrap fiber around the front, really bright pins. Trophy Ridge has definitely stepped up in the last couple of years from where they were. Heck of a company here, guys. They're also owned by Bear, but I'm screwing this on a Mathews bow, the new Chill, 2013. So we'll screw this guy in. Won't take us for just a second here. And when we go in the back room, I'm going to show you how to properly hold a bow. I'm going to show you how to properly anchor a bow. This bow doesn't quite fit me 100%, but I'm going to show you how I'm going to shoot it, make it work. And like I said, we're going to sight it in just a few simple shots. I'm going to show you how to move your sight, to react on your sight, something like that. So 2 seconds here. Grab me an arrow. Okay. Now, one thing we will do is to sight, even before you really get good and started, what you're going to do is just take an arrow and throw an arrow on here, throw an arrow in here. Now, if you take this string and you line this string up right down the dead middle of this arrow, so you stand behind it like this, and you line the string up right down the dead middle of this arrow. Well, when I do that right now, I don't know if you can see this or zoom in on this. See if you can't zoom in straight in on that string right down the middle of that arrow. Can you see the sight pins are sitting off to the left edge? That means these dots are sitting further to the left than what the string and the arrow is. You can see that, right? Okay. What that means is it's not going to work. The only way that's going to work is if you use a different eye as a dominant eye, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this and I'm going to look at it and say, okay, well that guy sits way out here to the left. These are all toolless, so you loosen up this part, and I'm going to bring this guy in, micro adjust him. Okay, if you look straight down this string, and you line the string right up in the middle of the arrow, you'll see that the sight pins pretty much run directly in line. Straight down the string, straight down the middle of the arrow, straight up and down is where your sight pins are going to lay. That's a really good spot to start off with, okay? And what I mean by starting off with is we're going to scope this bow in, and we're going to get it sighted in here 20 and 30 yards in just a couple of simple shots. But instead of going outside and losing arrows because you're shooting 4 foot to the left, 4 foot to the right, whenever you get a sight, I don't care if it's a Trophy Ridge sight or a Vital X or whoever it may be, an AXT, it doesn't make any difference, guys. When you get them, they come in a package like this, for instance. They're sitting in there because they sit in the package the way it makes it easiest and the most shelf appeal to the package. You still got to do some main adjustment to your sight to get them started. Now, up and down, that won't be a big deal. We'll just raise and lower the up and down. But then I got a big wall in the back room. But that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to lay the bow down here. Scott Archer, guys, I'm telling you, they're phenomenal. I also run a buckle release instead of a Velcro release. And the reason why I do a buckle release is strictly because of this. When I put a belt on, I put a belt in the same exact hole every day, unless you gain weight or lose weight, one or the other. If not, you still put it in the same exact hole. So what I do is I run a buckle style release. And the reason for that is every day when I put on this release will fit in the same exact hole. Tomorrow it's going to fit in the same exact hole. Another thing I do is it's got all these different adjustments on this Scott release, but I actually want my release to lay flat and short in the palm of my hand. Now most people would think that this lays way too short. But when I pull this back and I put all this pressure on it, my finger is actually in the trigger. Okay? So I'm not way out here trying to reach it with the tip of my finger. You actually want your finger to come around and wrap around it. So we're going to have a couple arrows here. We're going to run in the back room. We're going to shoot this bow, scope it in real quick, and show you guys how easy it is to sight a bow in. As long as it's tuned properly, you'll see it's a simple solution. Bolt them on, shoot them up. Let's run in the back room. Let's shoot. Okay, guys, I've got a little orange spot sitting down there. I'm at a 20-yard deal. I'm going to scope this guy in at 20 real quick, and I'm going to scope it in at 30. Now, a big thing with shooting a bow, no matter where it is you guys want to do this, is your stance. Your stance is 90% of your shot, okay? So, a lot of people, I don't know if you want to zoom down here on my feet or whatever, but a lot of people, they want to stand with a stance and a wide stand, okay? That's not right at all. It's just the wrong way to learn how to shoot a bow, okay? A lot of people want to stand with one foot in front of the other foot and shoot like this because they think it opens up their arm. That's not right either. And the worst place you can stand is where if you're right-handed and shooting a right-handed bow, is to have your right leg behind your left leg. Just shoot like this. That's probably the worst stance in the world. Okay? The way you really want to stand to shoot a bow, because without standing properly, we're never going to get our bow sighted in the way we need to sight it in. And hopefully I can sight this thing in about 3 or 4 shots. Okay? So what I want to do is I'm going to kind of march myself in place. My feet are going to land directly underneath of my hips, so I create a straight line of center. Okay? So, I don't know if you can see downrange there. And another thing you guys may notice on this bow is I don't use a peep sight. I just never really have been a huge fan of peep sights. Not that there's anything wrong with them really, but I'm just not a huge fan of them. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this back. I'm going to put this disc right here in the corner of my lip. I'm going to lay the string right here on the very tip of my hand. I'm going to line this string up. I'm going to look between the string and the cable. So I'm going to come right between here. And I'm going to line this string up right out here with the outside edge of this housing. So it's your hand grip, okay? To find a perfect hand grip, what you really want to do is kind of lay your hand flat, set it in here, and drop it down. Now, your lifeline, which is this groove right here. Take your hand and you squeeze it together, you'll see this lifeline. Your lifeline should hit right here at the edge of this handle, which puts all the weight right there on the ball of this thumb. Okay? Set it there just like this. What that's going to do is it's going to push this elbow out and open this up, and it's going to give you a lot more clearance, so you're never going to smack your arm. If you smack your arm, there's 2 reasons. Either your elbow's kicked in or your draw length is too long. Other than that, there's no reason for you to ever smack your arm. Okay, and I can do tips on that too. But now I'm going to set my hand grip. Another thing I'm going to do is, okay, I find my hand grip, my feet are set. I find my hand grip. I'm going to put my fingertips all the way to the very front of this riser. By putting your fingertips to the very front of this riser, your brain tells you that you don't have to reach up and grab the bow and clench it whenever you go to shoot it. And you can't squeeze it hard. Just like laying the egg in the palm of your hand, you can't crush the egg because you have no structural strength to bring it in. So now I can't torque the bow. So all I'm going to do is shoot my first arrow down range here. Put this disc in. Can you see where that arrow went? I think I'm way low and to the left. If you see all the green dots, I'm all the way down at the bottom and I'm a little bit to the left edge. Now, what we're going to do to find and chase this arrow is what I call chasing an arrow. If you shoot high, you raise your sight pins. If you shoot low, you lower them. If you shoot to the right, you move them to the right. And if you shoot them to the left, you move them to the left. Chase your arrow until you catch it. I've shot a dozen arrows total. I shot 3 arrows. I moved my sight pin, chased my arrow. Shot 3 more arrows, moved my sight pin, chased my arrow. Shot 3 more arrows, moved my sight pin, chased my arrow. And this is my last 3 arrows, guys, at 20 yards. So you can look at this, you can see here's my orange spot. There's a spot in it, and this spot's only half a spot too. There's this arrow here, there's an arrow here, and there's an arrow there. It took me a grand total of 12 shots, moved my sight pin 3 total times, just like this bowing. It's really simple, guys, to sight a bow in. As long as your anchor point and your stance is correct, you ought to be able to do this all day long. I'm not the world's greatest shot, and I'll never claim to be, but I can help you guys be a better shot than you ever thought you could be. It's really simple to do. But to look at a group like this and to say, I can do that, it's not a big deal at all. It's the first time I shot the bow today, like I said. I'm a couple dozen arrows deep now. This is my last group. So any questions at all on how to shoot or sight in a bow, give us a call. We'll be more than glad to help you out. And we'll explain all the other things and accessories that you can get, whether it be a Scout Release or one of these new React sights or a bow. Get a hold of us here at Draves Archery. Thank you for your time.